As Ethan sat by the window, the sunlight filtering in like a warm embrace, he felt his life replaying before him. Not as a sequence of events, but as a tapestry of moments and feelings, each more vivid than the last. Memories of his childhood, his friends, his family, and the strange, haunting room in the abandoned building all flowed through his mind like a river, carrying him back to the beginning. After that fateful day, Ethan had dedicated himself to living in the moment, letting go of the chase for perfection that had once consumed him. The wisdom he gained from his experience in the room never left him, though the details had grown hazy over the years, like a dream that fades but leaves an impression behind. He had come to understand that true growth came not from changing his past, but from embracing who he was, faults and all. Ethan's journey had taken him to places he never expected. He found himself becoming a mentor to others, always encouraging them to appreciate their lives as they were. He taught his children, Leo's parents, that mistakes were just as essential to a person's journey as their triumphs, and that the people we love are the real markers of a meaningful life. His children often asked him about his wisdom, and he would smile, saying, "Time taught me a thing or two, that's all." As he grew older, the story of the room became something of a legend in his mind, a memory he carried but rarely shared. He couldn't be sure if it had truly happened or if it was simply a powerful dream, yet its lessons guided him like a compass. One day, as his health began to fade, Ethan gathered his family around him. His children, grandchildren, and friends all came to his side. Despite his weakening body, his mind was sharp, and he shared stories of his life, his adventures, and his lessons. That night, he took his grandson Leo aside, now a young man with an unmistakable resemblance to Ethan's younger self. "Leo," he began, his voice gentle but firm, "I want to tell you about a room I once found, hidden in an old building near my childhood home. It was full of clocks and mirrors, each one ticking away, each one showing me different paths. I spent a lifetime exploring it, in a way, but what I learned was that the future doesn't need our control. It needs our courage and our love." Leo listened with wide eyes, feeling a strange connection to the story, as though he'd heard it before. Ethan sensed this too, and knew that the wisdom he'd passed on would remain in good hands. The following morning, Ethan's family found him peacefully asleep by the window, his hand resting on a note scrawled in his familiar handwriting. It read, "Time is the truest mirror, showing us who we are and who we could become. Live fully, love fiercely, and let each moment count." Leo, now a young man with his own ambitions and dreams, took the note and kept it close, sensing its importance even though he didn't fully understand it yet. Ethan's family honored his legacy by carrying his words forward, sharing his wisdom with everyone they met. Over time, Ethan's story grew, becoming a cherished family legend passed down from one generation to the next. Years later, Leo found himself near the abandoned building his grandfather had described. Curiosity stirred within him as he walked the overgrown path, drawn by a force he couldn't quite explain. The building was older now, crumbling and worn by time, but it still held a certain mystery. As Leo stepped inside, he noticed how quiet the world had become, as if he had entered a different realm. Dust floated in the rays of light streaming through cracks in the walls, and the air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. He made his way through the building, his footsteps echoing down the empty halls. Finally, he found the room. Though it was almost bare, Leo felt an overwhelming sense of familiarity. The walls were lined with mirrors, each one slightly fogged, as if hiding secrets just beneath the surface. In the center of the room stood a single clock, its face intricately designed, and its hands ticking with a steady, almost meditative rhythm. He approached the clock and, without thinking, placed his hand upon it. The room began to hum softly, and in the mirrors, he saw fleeting images of different lives, versions of himself at various stages in different places. Some were triumphant, others somber, but each one radiated a sense of purpose. He realized that these lives, while unique, all held echoes of the man his grandfather had been. As he watched, he saw a version of himself as a young father, his child in his arms, and a future family gathered around him. He He saw himself as an old man, sitting by a window, watching the world with a quiet, satisfied smile, much like his grandfather had. Leo understood then what Ethan had meant when he'd said, "The future doesn't need our control. It needs our courage and our love." Time was both endless and momentary, always pushing him forward while holding echoes of those who had come before. Leo left the building with a heart full of peace, feeling as though he had been given a precious gift. He knew that he too would pass this wisdom on, keeping the spirit of his grandfather alive in the choices he made and the love he gave. His journey had only just begun, but he carried Ethan's legacy with him, like a compass guiding him toward a life of meaning and connection. Years turned into decades, and Leo became a father and then a grandfather himself. He too shared Ethan's words with his family, teaching them to value each moment, to cherish the people around them, and to live without regret. Ethan's story became a family tradition, a tale whispered at bedtime, a guiding light during difficult times. And so, Ethan's legacy lived on, a reminder that though time may carry us forward, it is the love we leave behind that echoes forever.